ICE deports Venezuelan teen despite reportedly knowing he was not a target. A 19-year-old Venezuelan in New York City reportedly was apprehended by Trump administration immigration authorities and deported to El Salvador despite agents realizing he was not whom they meant to arrest in a targeted operation. Miguel Gutierrez, whose family opened an asylum case after arriving in the U.S., was deported from the Bronx to the notorious Seasalt prison in El Salvador, despite his relatives' insistence that he has no gang ties or criminal history. According to Documented, a newsroom dedicated to telling the stories of immigrants in New York City, the Gutierrez family says it has been left without information or answers. The teen was detained alongside 237 other Venezuelans on the 24th of February by ICE. His father, Vilmar Gutierrez, told Documented, "I feel like my son was kidnapped. I've spent countless hours searching for him, going from one precinct to another, speaking with numerous people who kept referring me elsewhere. Yet after all this, no one has given me any information or provided a single document about his case." The elder Gutierrez reportedly said he overheard ICE agents saying that his son had not been the person they had come to get. Quote, "The officers grabbed him and two other boys right at the entrance to our building. One said, 'No, he's not the one,' like they were looking for someone else. But the other said, 'Take him anyway,'" he recalled. There's more to the article. That's the important part. It's actual, like, no exaggeration SS shit. Like, I understand that we use, and I think there's value in drawing parallels, right? Like, I don't think you should have to wait for a second Holocaust to happen to say, like, Israel's doing Nazi shit, like literal count the numbers, 6 million, then you can say it. However, with regard to, like, concerns of severity, this is straight up SS shit. It's difficult to exaggerate. Hyperbole isn't a part of this. Or Gestapo. I understand that their roles overlapped at times. And the worst part, so many people will defend this shit? Yup. And I do know that the vast majority of the people who would defend this legitimately do not understand what's going on. And that is not a defense of them. There is a point past which ignorance is not an excuse. However, these people do think the Venezuelans that were swept up were Tren de Aragua terrorists. The vast majority of Republican voters. Now, obviously, the Trump administration officials, they know they're lying. But the average voter who supports this doesn't. They think that it's real. And nothing will convince them otherwise. Remember, even after the end of the Second World War, a majority of German adults who were polled had favorable views of the doctrine that they were taught under Nazi Germany. The idea that Jews caused the German defeat in the First World War, were responsible for civilizational collapse, etc., etc. And a lot of these adults who were led to believe that, they weren't even Hitlerjugend. They weren't even youth raised under Nazi Germany. They were adults when Hitler took power. Hitler took power in 1933. World War II ended in 1945. 12 years. You could be 20 when Hitler took power and 32, essentially my age, when it ended. And a majority of those adults still thought it was real. So, you know, lying is OP. That is true. It's really bad. I don't really know what's to be done about this. It seems like it's kind of the end times. A little bit. At least for now. Nothing really ever ends, right? 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Do we just need to do a complete cultural reset if/when we get out of this? That's the problem. It's never actually happened. A cultural reset isn't possible. It's never been done. Reconstruction failed. You end slavery? Jim Crow. You end Jim Crow? Forced busing, segregation, whatever. Every issue just continues. It's been hundreds of years, same damn issues. The amount of effort you would have to... I mean, we're talking essentially like, Mao shit. And even he failed. The modern Chinese Communist Party doesn't recognize the Mao's Cultural Revolution. They've gone back. They've gone back on it. They hearken now not to 50s and 60s reconstructed radical communism, but older imperial Chinese history. Even with that level of violence behind the cultural reset, and I mean, you can read up on it, but like, they were essentially going up to 19-year-old Twitter tankies, giving them a gun and a badge and saying, if anyone says anything revisionist, there's a ditch to fill with their body. They went really hard on that, and it still didn't work. So, I don't know. I just have this like sinking feeling that no matter what happens for the rest of my life, when I'm an old man, there will still be around 80 to 100 million people who think that all of these people sent to CSOT were Tren de Aragua terrorists. And nothing anyone can say could convince them otherwise. You kind of just have to live with that. I would love it if I could live. That would be nice if I could live. We'll see if they have any other plans. Doesn't end there, by the way. This is from just 2 hours ago.
There are laws on the books that make it a criminal offense to shield or harbor illegal immigrants, like the sanctuary state city leaders have been doing. Do you think they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and possibly put in prison?
Absolutely. And hold tight on that one. Because it's coming. It's coming. I've been clear on that since day one. The sanctuary city can sit by and watch their communities get ravaged by illegal aliens. They can watch young women get raped and murdered. Trump administration is not going to stand for that.
So the explicit statement here, for those who didn't catch it, was that the administration intends to arrest Democratic officials if they had any hand in the policy surrounding sanctuary cities or sanctuary states. So that's when the country will truly be over. Yeah, I guess. But like, follow up on that, not to be too depressive about it, but who would do anything about it? Like, I mean, what like realistically, what? I think the best case scenario, if something like that happens, is that it spooks Wall Street so badly that it actually starts to cripple America economically. Because a lot of the people who are just kind of riding the wave genuinely believe the nothing ever happens memes, right? That's the median American. The median American is like, this happens, that guy gets elected, this policy happens, whatever, man. My sports team keeps losing, housing prices keep going up, it's all the same shit, If something that overt happened, it's possible that, because it's not like the country is 80 million like devout fascists, right? Some number of millions, but not 80 million. It's possible that a lot of them just get spooked so badly that it just destabilizes. That's the hope. It's not like it's not like any direct counteraction would do anything at this point, right? I mean, what could they? I agree that they're stupid. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that, like, there is a deliberate irrationality here, right? If fascists conducted their affairs rationally, they couldn't be fascists. It's not possible. There is a juncture there. There's like a contrary. The people might be spooked by the irrationality, because there is. And I'm not trying to do this like, well, if I was the leader or whatever kind of thing, because people love that. Everyone with their goddamn EU for whatever saves. Has an opinion on this. But if you wanted to like carefully and methodically take over a country without spooking people, especially the United States, where voters are pretty apathetic and pretty easy to manipulate, you could do it. It wouldn't be that hard, honestly, as long as you had like control of all three branches of government, which they do. The Trump administration is doing stuff that spooks people because they're idiots and largely incompetent. You don't have to be competent to be powerful. Like, look at history. It's not the case. People like the counter examples are the rarities. People like Napoleon, undeniably competent, right? He had his fun. Whoopee! Took over half of Europe or whatever. Then he's out. Okay, sure. He was competent. Great. Washington, pretty competent general. Okay. You take a look at most of history. I mean, fuck, even some of the other founding fathers, right? Adams or whatever. Overwhelmingly, competence and power are just not concurrent forces. So I guess the hope is that people get spooked. I don't know. That's the hope. Because I don't know what else is going to change things. Do you think other countries can help? Well, like by doing what? What do you think they're going to do? Invade? Intervene in U.S. soil? Martial law would spook people? Yeah, martial law would spook people. 5 days, by the way, be a safe harbor for refugees. Well, sure, but a lot of them already are to an extent. Is it actually happening, though? Nobody knows. Have you been given any reason to be optimistic about the direction this administration is taking the country? I don't feel optimistic. Maybe they don't recommend martial law. Okay. I will not feel silly for having worried. If they don't enact martial law, the good thing is that it won't get worse. You are very wrong on that. What Tom Homan's talking about here wouldn't require martial law. They can do anything they want. Keep that in mind. They can do anything they want. Do the generals who swore an oath on the Constitution just not care about honoring that shit? Well, they did replace a lot of the top brass over at the Pentagon. The United States just closed so many embassies and consulates in Europe, Asia, and Africa. That's not great. Wow, that just happened. Complete withdrawal from the rest of the world just happened right behind me, didn't it? That's not good. Looking at closing nearly 30 overseas embassies and consulates. Well, still. Why is that bad? It implies a lot of negative things. None of this makes sense unless you assume Trump works for Russia. Trump is obviously compromised by Russia, but I think it's important to understand that Russia is the way it is because of a set of material conditions that people like Trump simply want to replicate. Russia is a fascist pariah state where the oligarchs have essentially unlimited power and everyone else is effectively a peasant. There are a lot of people who find that form of government, desirable. By a lot of people, I mean like a few really wealthy people. Hold on, addressing is something I saw in YouTube chat. Might have to stop watching Vosh soon. I mean, every stream is just there is no hope and nothing can change. You're not watching me with a critical ear, and you need to work on that. Critical thinking, hearing, these are important skills. Listen, my words are just a medium through which I'm trying to convey my thoughts to your brain, but there's an interpretive wall, and it's in your skull. I'm not saying nothing changes, and I'm not saying there's no hope. The immediate future looks pretty bleak, but I think that's a fair assessment. I don't think that's me being pessimistic. I just think I see dark storm clouds ahead. I think you do too. But nothing ever ends, really. Things change all the time. And it's complicated. And for better or for worse, the world is going to look very different 6 months from now than it does today. You used to yell at chat for dooming, now you are. Now, so. I said I wouldn't ban people, but you worked hard for this one, bucko. I hate the doomer allegations, or accusations, I should say. I do. I think that doomering is unproductive. I think that I am literally just talking about the world. I've seen what dooming looks like in other people. I don't think it's an accurate description. I know it's like people say a gooner is like a person who likes sex now. Like every word eventually becomes a Flanderization of itself until nothing means anything. I understand this, but I do resent that one in particular. I know it's difficult to perceive given how bad the news has been, but I put a lot of effort into maintaining what I would consider to be a level tone. And it's been nonstop, man, ever since the election. From election night and onward. I think it takes a decent amount of discipline's not the right word. I don't know, temperance to relay. Yeah, it's the doomer thing particularly bugs me. Can you define doomer? When I say doomer, what I mean is a person is being unconstructively pessimistic. Like they are more interested in signaling an emotional state of despair, there's no hope, whatever, than they are in describing what's happening or trying to provide any kind of understanding of the world. It's done at the expense of understanding the situation, which I don't think I do. I feel like, unfortunately, what's happening right now is in line with the most pessimistic predictions that I've had for what could happen if Trump wins. I think it's in line more or less with, a material understanding of the situation. That's a great definition, but I don't think it's how most people use it. Yeah, but most people don't use words good. I'm just trying to further understanding of the meaning of the word, right? Like I'm trying to describe an idea here.